Subway's not running.
No, so we're back to Kleiman.
I'd like to call to order this meeting of the September full board of Community Board 7 Manhattan. Welcome to all of you who are in attendance, and many, many thanks again to St. Paul and St. Andrew's Church for their hospitality in hosting us. Before we adopt the agenda, I'd like to announce one small change to it, which we learned only this afternoon. At the request of the Department of Parks, we are pulling the resolution that was related to the 83rd Street playground. They will come back to the Parks Committee this month, later in September, with a different plan that reflects the feedback they have received from the community. We will still hear tonight anyone who wishes to speak to this topic, but we wanted to make clear that we will not be voting on the resolution that we had before us. With that change, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Second? All in favor by voice? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. For the chair's report, I am required by the open meeting law to announce those members who are appearing remotely because of various reasons. And given those reasons, we've issued waivers to Louisa Craddock, Will Ortiz, Kristen Berger, and Michele Parker due to illness, and Elizabeth Caputo due to travel. She will be joining us from Italy. I also would like to announce that we have a new board member replacing Avi Flato-Katz, who graduated from high school in June. Our new member is Howard Wolfson, who has a long career in government at the city and national levels, and currently works in education philanthropy. He will be joining the YEL and BCI committees. He is not here this evening because of a commitment made prior to his appointment to the board, but you will see him starting in October. As some of you know, I've asked Jami Floyd to organize and chair a 90-day working group. Its charge is to develop a recommendation for our incoming chair on the scope, structure, and goals of a potential task force on public safety and criminal justice. Many board members and members of the public have expressed to me concerns that we have no regular home for topics in this area of strong community interest. Earlier efforts at a public safety task force and committee were in many cases redundant of the community council meetings run by the New York City Police Department's precincts. Doug Kleiman has ably served as our public safety coordinator and has organized programs on highly topical subjects like the one you will hear later this evening. And the Health and Human Services Committee presentations have explored criminal justice issues from the perspective of the defense bar. I'm persuaded that we need a place that looks at all perspectives on these important matters, and the working group will present their recommendations to our new chair in November and then disband. Jami is planning on holding the first meeting the week of September 8th. And if you are interested in participating, please reach out to her by email or text by end of business this Friday, September 5th. With that, in Max's absence, we will move to the treasurer's report. Kevin?
Good evening, everyone. Hello. Alex, slide presentation, please. Slide 2, please. Next slide, please. There we go. So this evening, I want to review how we did for fiscal 2025. So those of you who are new, our fiscal year begins July 1st and ends June 30th. And for fiscal year 2025, it ended June 30th. So our budget for fiscal year 25 was $434,000. We spent a little over $390,000, and excluding roughly 44,000 or 33,000 of restricted items, we came in under budget at a little over $10,000. So bottom line, we had a surplus, and we've demonstrated fiscal discipline. Next slide, please. Slide 3 is our fiscal year 26 budget. So fiscal year 26 started July 1st of this year. So we were awarded a budget of $476,000 roughly, which is a 9.8% increase over fiscal 2025, and probably the largest increase when compared to other community boards in Manhattan. But I will talk about a comparative analysis when we meet in October. So of the 476,000, roughly 285,000 is for what we call personal services. So that's salaries for our 3 staff members. An additional 37,515 for what we call OTPS, which is non-rent, non-salary. So HVAC, plumbing, technology, miscellaneous expenses, and then the remainder for rent. Next slide, please. So far this fiscal year for 2026, which is about a couple of weeks in, we've spent roughly $139,000 so far. Now, when excluding restricted funds, we have roughly a little under $300,000 left. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to project based on 29 remaining pay periods for fiscal year 26, plus our projected non-salary, non-rental expenses, we're projected to have a surplus of a little over $15,000 left for the rest of the fiscal year based on our projections. So since becoming treasurer, we've provided full financial transparency to the board. We've demonstrated fiscal discipline, coming in over $10,000 under budget, and we got additional funding so far for the year. So with that, turn it over back to Beverly. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
As usual. Microphone. Excellent report as usual. I'm sure we all appreciate. Just a quick thing, that's approximately $10,000 under budget. Can that be rolled over to the current fiscal year?
It cannot, because once the fiscal year ends, we start anew and we start all over again. So it cannot be rolled over or applied to any other expenditures for the current or future fiscal years.
Although there may be some items that we have completed this delivery of service on that were not yet paid, and there may be an adjustment up until October based on those floating bills, if you were.
Yeah, thanks for the great report. But given that we now have potentially a total of $25,000 in quote unquote savings that we're not going to get, I'm not sure that's a cause for celebration because it's money that could have been spent, to improve a lot of things, AV equipment, for instance, or whatever. So I don't know. That's just a comment.
There's clarity.
I have 2 questions, but the first one I'll ask is a somewhat maybe kinder version. Kinder version of Ken's question. When we get really close to the end of the year and pretty sure we have some money left over, Does it work? And I understand from Beverly, there's some sort of contingent thing still out there. Can we, whoever it is, the executive committee or whatever, get together and say, you know, we're at the end of the year, we got $10,000. Let's see what we can do, because otherwise we're going to lose it. And that sounds like a question that, if the projections turn out to be true, would be a question at the end of this current fiscal year as well. My other question, Kevin, and I'm not sure I heard you correctly. I think you said that we had already, just a few weeks into this fiscal year, spent over $100,000. Is that, did I hear you correctly? Which is out of proportion to the percentage of the year that has passed so far. Why have we spent a significantly out of proportion amount already this year?
So just to address your first question, we have a lot of HVAC plumbing issues with the district office, so we have to be very judicial in how we spend funds. But yes, we always look at technology and other upgrades as the year ends or approaches, such that we can, you know, have the necessary resources. And then your other question related to what we've spent so far. So we spent roughly 139,000, of which 107 is related to other funding. So this is rent, is rental expenses in there. We spend about 7,700 a month for rent. Plus we have salaries for our three staff members. So that's all in there as well.
And we should move along. Okay, I'd like to call Daria forward to the mic, please. Or you can do it from here if we give you a hand mic. All right. To take nominations for our board officers for the coming year. We will be holding elections at our October full board based on the nominations that are made tonight.
Hi, so I am Daria, and Kay Carpin and I are also members of the election committee. Elizabeth Caputo is the chairperson. We are calling for nominations from the floor for the 6 officer positions identified in our bylaws. It's going to be for chairperson, vice chairperson, technology and communications officer, treasurer, and the 2 co-secretaries, co-secretary 1 and 2. So the nominations are now open for the office of chairperson. We are taking nominations for the office of chairperson. Seema? No, go ahead. Or
I'd like to nominate Natasha Kazmi for chair.
is there Natasha Kazmi was nominated and seconded. Natasha, do you accept the nomination? Are there further nominations? Timothy.
I'd like to nominate Alex Bell for chairperson.
Alex Bell was nominated and he was seconded. Alex, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Are there any further nominations? And Andrew,
I'd like to nominate Doug Kleiman for chair.
is there a second? Doug Kleiman was nominated and seconded. Doug, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Are there any further nominations? There being none, for the position of chairperson, nominations are closed. Oh, is that the process? Position, all right, motion for the nominations are closed. Nominations are now open for the position of vice chairperson. Seema.
I'd like to nominate Richard Asche for vice chair.
Second.
Richard, do you accept the nomination? Are there any further nominations?
Elizabeth has her hand raised.
Sorry.
Is it
Hi,
Elizabeth
I'd like
has
to
her hand.
nominate Polly Spain.
Still
Elizabeth?
raised. Then we can move on.
Can
Are
you
there
hear
any
me?
further nominations?
Wait,
Yes.
We can hear you.
okay, I'd like to nominate Polly Spain.
Is there a second nomination?
I second.
Polly, do you accept? Polly, do you accept the nomination? Thank you. Are there any further nominations?
We have to vote on the motion.
Do we have to vote on it? To close the nominations for vice chair?
All in favor of the motion to close, raise your hand. Aye.
Okay. The position for vice chairperson are closed. Nominations are closed. Nominations are now open for the office of Technology and Communications Officer.
I nominate Nandita.
Oh, sorry. Do you accept where? Oh, there you are. Do you accept the nomination, Nandita? Okay. Are there any further nominations?
I would nominate Will Ortiz.
Second. Will is online.
Will, do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Are there any further nominations?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. For the position of Technology Communications Officer, nominations are closed. Nominations are now open for the office of Treasurer.
I nominate Kevin Reevey. Second.
Kevin, do you accept the nomination?
Second.
Are there any further nominations?
Elizabeth is online with a hand raised. Oh,
Nope, I was just gonna second.
okay.
All good.
Are there any further nominations? Motion to close the nominations.
Motion to close.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nominations for treasurer are closed. Nominations are now open for the first position of co-secretary.
Kristen Berger is online with hand raised. We can't hear you. Let me work on this for a second.
Are there any nominations for the position, the office of co-secretary, first position? Okay.
I nominate Michael Mona.
I second the nomination.
Michael Molinari.
Michael, do you accept the nomination for co-secretary?
I do.
I nominate Igor.
Second.
Where? Who?
She nominated Igor.
Igor, does Igor accept the nomination?
Igor is unable to be here this evening because he is in flight at the
Mhm.
moment. he has authorized me to accept on his behalf.
Are there any further nominations for co-secretaries? Seconded?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, this is the end of the nomination process. Per our bylaws, all our candidates have 10 business days after today to submit a written statement of your qualifications to Max, our district manager. The statement is not to exceed 500 words. Max will send copies of all such statements with a notice of election to each member on this board within 15 business days from today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daria. I'd like to call on Doug Kleiman to introduce our item on the public safety presentation.
Thanks very much. I understand you have a PowerPoint that you can perhaps share. Alex, do you have the USB for that PowerPoint? Okay, Alex will help you. Just as by introduction, we sort of held this agenda item off until now. We wanted to do it earlier in the spring, but scheduling didn't permit. I don't think anyone needs to read too far or watch the news or read too many papers to realize that hate crimes of all kinds are on the rise. It's really important for us to be educated and re-educated about what that is and what it isn't. There's obviously things that people say that are very, very disturbing that may not necessarily rise to that level. And the experts for that are Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and we have the hate crimes unit here. So would you like, before we get the PowerPoint loaded, would you like to come up and present? You can speak on the microphone here, or I can obviously hand this microphone to you as well, whatever is easier. And please welcome Hate Crimes Unit of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office.
Good evening. Well, thank you for the warm welcome. And I'd just like to first introduce myself and then sort of go over the agenda. I'm under the impression that we have about 20 minutes, if that's still the case. Okay, we'll proceed that way. So my name is Hannah Yu. I'm the chief of the Hate Crimes Unit at the Manhattan DA's office. I'm a proud Upper West Sider and a Barnard alum. So this is a treat for me to be here with all of you. And let me have my colleague Reevey introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Reevey Lawson. I am the Deputy Director for the Prevention of Hate Crimes and Youth Violence in our Community Partnerships Unit.
So thank you once again for this invitation. Since we have limited time, what I hope to accomplish today is a primer on what is a hate crime, so that if you or your loved ones or your friends and family witness a hate crime, you know how to identify one, and you know what next steps the police and the DA's office might take when a hate crime occurs. I'll also touch upon the distinction between free speech, hate speech, and a hate crime. When free speech becomes hate speech and when hate speech crosses the line of the freedom that we have to speak and express ourselves, and when it becomes a crime. I'm not a First Amendment right expert, so I won't talk about civil rights or campus speech, but I will talk about what constitutes a hate crime when it involves certain speech. And lastly, I'd like to share with you some of the trends that we've been seeing in Manhattan. Our jurisdiction is only in Manhattan, but I do meet regularly with the NYPD Hate Crimes Task Force, which investigates hate crimes that occur in all 5 boroughs. So I'll talk about the trends that we're seeing. So let me first start by, let me see by show of hands if you have heard of a hate crime in the news. That's almost everyone in the room. That's not a feeling. It's not, it is a fact that hate crimes are on the rise. We have seen increases in pretty much every category of hate crimes. Right now, in terms of our open docket of hate crimes, our largest category of pending hate crime prosecutions is anti-Semitic hate crimes. Second to that, pretty much at an even score, are anti-LGBTQ hate crimes and anti-Asian hate crimes. But over the last several months, certainly, we have seen an increase in anti-immigrant hate crimes, anti-Hispanic hate crimes. And, you don't need to be a sociologist to surmise why there's been increases in certain types of hate crimes. The fact is that hate crimes impact all of us. We've had anti-white hate crimes. We've had anti-Black hate crimes. We've had anti-LGBTQ hate crimes where the victim is not a member of the LGBTQ community, but they're perceived to be one. And as I'll mention in a little bit, it's the perception that controls, not the actual fact of the identity of the victim. So someone might be perceived to be Jewish, perceived to be an immigrant, perceived to be a quote unquote foreigner. And it's that perception that allows us to charge something as a hate crime. Would it be better if I use a different microphone?
I think we're working on it currently.
Okay, all right. So if we could go to the next slide, please. Just a brief introduction. My boss, the district attorney, is Alvin Bragg. And when he took office in 2022, he made hate crimes a major priority. He has significantly expanded our unit. We lobbied for additional funding from city council, and the district attorney, Alvin Bragg, was successful in obtaining $1.7 million per year in additional funding so that we can expand our efforts. What does that mean? Now we have dedicated prosecutors who are trained to investigate hate crimes. We have analysts who are just brilliant, and they do everything from social media scrubbing to see if there's any bias or hateful content on a suspect's social media, and to looking at people's backgrounds and interviewing witnesses, manning our hotline. But in essence, since 2022, we've significantly expanded our efforts. If we could go to the next slide. And just again, a brief introduction to our office. Our main hub is downtown in the Chinatown Tribeca area, but we have satellite locations in Washington Heights and Harlem. Next slide. I'm going to breeze through the stats. We'll go to the next slide. But the reason why hate crimes are so important, more important than ever, in especially a diverse of a community as the Upper West Side of Manhattan, is that hate crimes do more than threaten the safety and welfare of all citizens. They inflict on victims incalculable physical and emotional damage and tear at the very fabric of free society. I'm quoting from the hate crime statute of New York. We've seen this idea play out. When I first became the chief of the hate crimes unit, it was in 2021. We were still masked. We were still in the dark times of COVID, and it seemed like every other Asian in New York was being assaulted. So anti-Asian hate crimes was at its absolute peak. Shortly after October 7th, 2023, we've seen an unprecedented increase in anti-Semitic hate crimes, many of which occurred in the Upper West Side. And since the beginning of 2025, we've seen a dramatic increase in unprovoked assaults against people perceived to be immigrants. And that impacts people who obviously are not necessarily immigrants, but people who might look like an immigrant. Anyone who is of brown skin, anyone who looks like a foreigner. And so we've seen a number of different cultures and backgrounds impacted starting in 2025. People being approached on the subway and asked for their papers, being assaulted when they don't show them. People being mocked for not speaking English. So we've seen that hate crimes really impact all of us because when one group is targeted, none of the other groups are particularly safe. We're all in this together. And when the tide rises, all of the boats rise. And so what we've seen over the last couple of years is that every category of hate crime is up. And there's unfortunately a lot of hateful speech and conduct. So what is a hate crime? Next slide, please. In New York, a hate crime consists of some crime. So there's got to be an underlying crime. Okay. And this is where just saying, I hate fill in the blanks alone would not be a hate crime. It would certainly be hate speech. But we're focused on crime plus some evidence that the victim was selected because of who they are, like their identity, or that the crime was conducted in whole or in substantial part because of some belief about a person's identity. This whole or in substantial part comes into play in many of our cases because very rarely do we see that the motivation is in whole part because of some hatred or animus against a certain group. We certainly see that. When you etch a swastika in a public space, which is criminalized, it's a felony in New York, and we take those cases very seriously because our view is that when you turn a blind eye to hateful vandalism, it runs the risk of creating an environment where hate is normalized, where violence now is expected, and people don't do anything about it. So we take swastika cases very seriously, but the in whole or in substantial part comes into play where we have dual motive cases. What is that? What does that mean? Well, there might be some reason for two people to come together. There might be a brush in the subway. Someone might accidentally step on someone. And then come the slurs and the offensive derogatory statements. In cases like that, some might say, well, this is not a hate crime. This is just two people on the subway getting into a conflict and some words were said. Well, the law allows us to consider cases where there might be more than one motive for committing the crime. So if we go to the next slide, thank you. There are some crimes where there's no injury. We've had cases where someone's religious clothing is knocked off. It might be a yarmulke, it might be a hijab that's pulled off. But when you have an intent to harass, annoy, threaten, or alarm, and you do something that causes some sort of physical touch, okay, we may be able to charge this as a misdemeanor hate crime. This is a very common misdemeanor hate crime. Walking up to someone saying, your kind don't belong in our country, or don't what we do to people like you in my country, with some sort of threat or physical touch, even when the victim is not injured, can constitute a misdemeanor hate crime. And we see this all the time, unfortunately. Next slide. So some examples of this crime: coughing on someone and saying something offensive, spitting, throwing items, liquids, verbal threats of violence, following someone on the street. We had a case on the Upper West Side where a man yelled, "Free Palestine," and then threw glass bottles at two Jewish individuals. The bottles hit the ground and shattered. No one was injured, thankfully. But that was charged as a hate crime because the words "Free Palestine," if shouted at a protest or shouted on your rooftop, may constitute free speech. But when coupled with this conduct, when the victims are selected because of their identity, right? This wasn't, the glass bottles weren't thrown at just anyone haphazardly. They were thrown specifically at two Jewish individuals. We charge that as a hate crime, and actually a much more serious hate crime than this one, because the glass bottles got dangerously close to the victims. I want to pause on that case very briefly, because the way the way that case was reported, the victims and some bystanders did call 911. But sometimes the police can take a little bit to respond to the scene. And at that point, after the individuals had called 911, the police had arrived, but the crowd had dispersed and the victim had actually gone to like CVS or something. They went into a store. So the police came. No report was actually, they did respond, but no report was taken. And it wasn't until a rabbi that we had a meeting with contacted us, knowing that we take these cases seriously, and said, hey, something happened. My congregants at my synagogue told me that this happened. Can you take a look at it? We're not sure if the police are looking into it. We did. We worked with the NYPD. We identified the person, and they're facing a felony hate crime charge. But it's that kind of community teamwork that we need, because we need the community's help. We need bystanders to stick around and help report. We need people, when they see graffiti that is hateful, to pause, to report it, to call 911 so that some investigation can be done. If there's no report, unfortunately, there may be no investigation, and there may be no accountability. So I urge all of you to consider being that bystander who calls 911 and waits for the police and makes that report, because that is the only way we can assure that there's accountability. We'll go to the next slide, please. Some other, I mentioned the swastika felony, but as a part of that felony hate crime charge, there are other subsections. If you cause more than $50 of damage to a religious premise, but we still need the intent to harass, annoy, threaten, or alarm, and we still need the belief or perception, the reason behind it was some belief about a person's race, color, etc. We have, if you burn a cross in public view, or if you etch, paint, draw, or display a noose, those are also potential felony hate crimes. We'll go to the next slide, please. So what can be the underlying charge for a hate crime? Pretty much any crime that you can think of. Assaults, menacing, which means it's a criminal legal way of saying threatening. So if you threaten someone with a weapon, if you threaten someone with your body, if you hover over them, and coupled with that crime, you've got hate speech, then you have a hate crime. So we have all sorts of crimes, from larcenies, robberies, even arsons. We had a series of arson incidents involving the LGBTQ community. Criminal mischief, damaging property. So all of these kinds of cases can constitute the underlying charge for a hate crime. And we have cases ranging from, like I said, the misdemeanor level, spitting, coughing, no injury cases, all the way up to attempted murder and murder cases. Okay, thank you, Sari. So let me jump ahead to what to do if you're the victim or the witness of a hate crime. And if we could just keep going. Yep, we'll skip this. Keep going, keep going. Well, I'll pause on this real quick. So what is the best evidence for us that something's a hate crime? It's the perpetrator's words. What did the perpetrator say at the time of the incident? So if you're the victim or the witness to a hate crime, please remember the words are very important. That's the difference between an unprovoked random stranger attack and a possible hate crime. So if you hear something spoken, remember to tell the police that. We also do a lot of proactive investigating, and so we'll look for, like I said earlier, hateful rhetoric on social media. Some of our hate crime defendants are not ashamed to be hateful, and so they'll publicize their hatred and give us clues as to what they were thinking when they committed the crime. What they say to the police is incredibly important. Sometimes they'll say nothing during the assault, but back at the precinct, while the police officers' body cams are still on and video recording, someone, the perpetrator might say something that demonstrates their motive. So we'll go to the next slide. So let's skip ahead to what to do if you are the victim or witness to a crime. Number one rule, we encourage you to get to safety. If you can safely video record or photograph the perpetrator, great. But don't do it at the risk of your personal safety. But call 911 right away. The reason why we encourage that is because evidence does not have an infinite shelf life. Video footage can override itself and disappear. Eyewitnesses may walk away. The sooner a crime, and this is not specific to hate crimes, the sooner a crime is reported, the sooner the police can investigate. So I encourage all of you to, if you hear or see something that you think might be a hate crime, to call 911. Provide as much detail about the incident, including everything you heard the perpetrator say. And know your rights. You have the right to an interpreter. You can even call 911 and say the language you need for interpretation, and they should get someone on the phone in that language. Next slide, please. Once 911 is called, the NYPD will initiate an investigation, and the hope is that the person who committed the crime is found, identified, and then arrested. Once that person is arrested, the victim will have a meeting with our office to discuss next steps. I just want to let you know that transportation, car rides are offered to our victims free of charge. If they're fearful of taking public transportation, we can provide, next slide, please, all sorts of resources, keep going, from emotional support, counseling for crime victims, to safety planning, immigration referrals, immigration legal service referrals, and all sorts of services that are shown in the next slide. There's a whole host of services that our office provides to victims of crimes that are on this slide. Okay, and we'll end with the next slide. Yep, we'll end with our hotline. Our hotline's been very active. We have hotline calls to our hate crimes hotline about sometimes hate speech, sometimes civil discrimination issues, and oftentimes actual hate crimes. Sometimes we get calls when a victim has reported the crime to NYPD, but they're curious about the status of the investigation, and we will help. But yeah, and lastly, I'll say that some communities are averse, for whatever reason, to working with the NYPD. Maybe their community has had just a difficult time with the NYPD, or maybe they are distrustful of the NYPD. Whatever the reason, we're here to bridge that gap. It might be easier to call our hotline than to call 911, but we want you to know that we're here. We are very invested in making sure that all communities are safe. And is there anything you wanted to add, Sri? Oh, and the hotline is not an emergency line, so please do call 911 first, but after that, you can call us to still report the case to us. I'll stick around if you have any questions, but it was a privilege to be here, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for coming. I want to remind everybody, this is an abbreviated training. Normally your training is more like 45 minutes or an hour, and there's a lot more active Q&A, but we're so glad you're here. This is obviously not an event, it's a process. And it also complements nicely with the upcoming trainings that the Manhattan Borough President has on implicit bias and all kinds of things that help us be educated, particularly board members who have a responsibility in this community. So I just want to thank you so much. And also 911, because of our city council legislation many years ago, is a part of open data, which also never gets erased. So adding to the evidence. Thank you so much. Back to Beverly.
Thank you. We are deferring the approval of the minutes from the June 23rd meeting, as they have not been circulated in time to the members, and we will take that up at our next meeting along with the minutes for this meeting. Thank you. I'd like to open the community session and turn it over to, I'm not sure who.
I'll take that. Yeah, we will be going through the list online first. If you are a member of the public online, you can also raise your hand and I'll promote you. We'll go, and then if you're not any of those, I will have an open session where we'll call people up. And we'll be doing 2 minutes on the timer. Sue Peters, you're first.
Thank you. Hope everybody had a good summer. A World Health Organization funded study published in Environment International, April 25th this year, has found evidence of high certainty linking cell phone radiation in 2 types of cancer in animals: gliomas in the brain, malignant schwannomas in the heart. The International Commission on the Biological Effects of Electromagnetic Fields writes, quote, "Notably, the same types of tumors have also been observed in human studies, adding significant confidence that the associations observed in human studies are real." Unquote. Scientists from the International Commission are calling for immediate policy action to protect public health and the environment, warning that further delay could have serious consequences given the global surge in the use of wireless devices. Please remember, August 13, 2021, a federal district judge ruled against the FCC. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit judged in favor of environmental health groups and petitioners, finding the FCC violated the Administrative Procedure Act and failed to respond to comments on environmental harm. The court ruled that the decision by the FCC to retain its 1996 safety limits for human exposure to wireless radiation was arbitrary and capricious, and held the FCC failed to respond to record evidence that exposure to RF radiation at levels below the Commission's current limits.
Thank you. We're at 2 minutes.
Can I finish the sentence?
Yep.
May cause negative health effects unrelated to cancer.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Next, we'll be going to Jennifer Czar in person.
Hi, good evening. I work at the St. Agnes branch of the New York Public Library. I have a quick announcement and then I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Jahira, who has more interesting stuff to talk about. So yeah, we were having a book sale on Wednesday, September 10th. So come out and support the library. If you're looking to donate books, we'd be happy to take them off your hands. Also, quick announcement, open house week will be on September 15th across all branches of the New York Public Library. So it's just our way to welcome folks back to the new school year and, encourage folks to sign up for cards if you haven't yet. We also have giveaways and special programs. So that's going across all the libraries. And now Jahira.
Hi, I'm Jahira Mahir from the Bloomingdale Library. Just to follow up on Jennifer's open house week. For that week for Bloomingdale, we also have special events. One of them that I want to highlight is on Tuesday, September 16. We're going to have a special Chinese acrobatic show in the children's room. So it's for all ages, all families to go, and it's one special program to celebrate Open House Week. And also during that week, we'll be giving out backpacks and school supplies for children, teens. So if you know anyone, tell them to stop by and they can get free giveaways. And then I also wanted to mention that if you don't know, but the board knows, we are going through a redevelopment project. We have been collecting surveys throughout the summer. The survey is going to close the week of the 15th, but we have one final information session for the community. This one is in person and it's going to be on Monday, September 15 from 6:30 to 8 p.m. EDC and other NYPL representatives will be there to talk more about the project if you miss our virtual session that happened last month. So again, this will be on Monday, September 15, and it will be at the library at Bloomingdale. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you repeat your name one more time?
Jahaira Mejia.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next we'll be going to Scott Etkin in person.
Hi, everyone. My name is Scott Etkin. I just wanted to briefly introduce myself because I recently started working at the Lincoln Square Business Improvement District, and I'm happy to be a point of contact between CB7 and the BID going forward. As you may know, the Lincoln Square BID is a nonprofit that helps support a clean, safe, and beautiful neighborhood from the north side of West 58th Street through 70th Street, along Broadway, Amsterdam, Columbus, and parts of Central Park West. You might also recognize us from our seasonal programming. During the winter, we have our Magical Lights events, and during the summer, we have free outdoor jazz concerts in Dante Park. There are actually 3 more weeks of these free outdoor concerts taking place on the next 3 Wednesdays at noon. Monica Blum and Ralph Mamoli from Lincoln Square BID are still available to CB7 as always. And like I said, going forward, I'm happy to serve as an additional point of contact between CB7 and the BID. Over the past few years, I've actually followed CB7 for articles that I contributed to Westside Rag, the local news site, and I've coordinated often with Max behind the scenes on those. So I can follow up with Max to make sure that you all have my contact information. Please don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything you're working on that's related to the BID, or if you're having any conversations that you would like our input. Looking forward to working with you going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll be going to Eleni DeCiervo in person. Eleni.
Hi, good evening, Community Board 7. My name is Eleni DeCiervo. I'm with Lincoln Center. Nice to see you all. Just a few quick highlights. So we had a successful Summer for the City season and have been going out to community street fairs, family days, many of which will run through September. So I think we have a street fair we're attending every Sunday this month. So look out for us in the community. Our Tatiana Gives Back Culinary Arts program reached nearly 100 residents in NYCHA Amsterdam House's addition in Harborview Terrace, including creating opportunity for Amsterdam House's youth, which works with the district attorney's office. And those participants were learning to cook alongside Chef D from Tatiana by Kwame Onuachu, which is a really special program. And then we also announced our Lincoln Center Presents season of free and choose what you pay performances from September to May. So a few highlights from that are we're going to have composer Janine Tesori honored as the season's Lincoln Center Visionary Artist. The Legacies of San Juan Hill Festival in October celebrates the artistry in the historic neighborhood, so look out for those performances. And then the season kicks off this week on September 4th, virtually with Rhythm is My Business, Women Who Shape Jazz by the New York Public Library for the Performing Arts, and in person on September 5th with the singer-songwriter Matt Costa in the atrium. And then for 2 weeks from Tuesday, September 16th to Friday, September 26th, so Juilliard Station free rush hour performances will spotlight Juilliard faculty, again, with free performances during that time right by the 1 train subway station. So please stop by. And then lastly, continuing the participatory engagement around the West Initiative, We wanted to invite you all today, as well as members of the public, to write love letters. If you are interested, we wouldn't be Lincoln Center without an art activity. And so I have the forms here if anyone would like to fill one out. It's just name and your meditation, your vision for the future, anything related to that intersection of community, arts, the history of San Juan Hill and the neighborhood. The idea is that these letters will then be put on these tiles and make up the bench around the water feature in the new Damrosch Park. So I thank you for your time, and I'll be here till the end of the meeting. Thanks.
Debbie Hirschman in person. And also, I'll remind you, there were a few people online who dropped off recently, but if you join back on, raise your hand and I will promote you. Thank you, Debbie.
Well, thank you all, since it's because of all of you that I'm here. Rest assured that I'm the new kid, not physically on the block, but in terms of getting to represent the center at West Park and the saving of West Park Presbyterian Church. And I'm grateful to our hosts here, since they are now our residents. And I am inviting all of you this Friday night to St. Paul and St. Andrews for a complimentary kickoff of the fall event for everyone in the city for the Evolution Festival. And also wanting to make sure, if you're not on the mailing list, you come and give me your email. That's how simple. You won't be solicited every week. The opportunity is important for me to be here so everyone understands that every single event, except the one that was in Guildhall in East Hampton, has pay what you can. It has tickets that can be for $1 if that's all someone could afford. Thanks to being here, we've been able to perpetuate with a differential amount $10 a night for artists, $10 an hour for artists who need a space and can't afford as emerging artists. So the purpose of the center has been twofold. First and foremost is to save West Park Presbyterian Church and this landmark. And the vehicle by which we do that,
You have 30 seconds left.
got it, is to continue the legacy of ministry, which the pastor began, knowing it needed to be a place of worship and a place of arts and culture. I hope you'll all come to events, bring people at whatever age, financial level, because accessibility is key, and that if they go back to landmarks, you'll be there with us to say, no, we're not destroying a landmark. Thanks for letting me be here.
We'll go to Steve Harris in person.
Good evening. My name's Steve Harris. I'm here with my wife, Rosemary, tonight. We live in the Ansonia at Broadway and 74th Street. The issue tonight is the Beacon Theater marquee light. Back in 2013, 2014, when I say we, residents in the Ansonia, were successful in working through the board and Gail Brewer's office to get an informal agreement with the Beacon Theater to reduce the light level at dusk and to turn it off at midnight. A couple of times they didn't do that. They kind of fell out, and I was able to reach out to them by email. It was all very cordial, explained to them, and immediately they changed the operation back to our initial agreement. Mr. Fine remembers those agreements. I believe he and I talked about it before. Recently, 2-3 months ago, they went back to a 24/7 operation on the sign. Now, there's not really a lot of people seeing the sign at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, I tried to reach out to the Beacon like I had before via email. Everything bounced back. And I went to the box office and was met with what I considered to be an abnormal amount of hostility. They would not tell me who the manager was. They would not give me an email. They said, go take it up with our client or guest
30 seconds.
Services, something like that. So I'm appearing, we were very successful with the board action on this. And what I'm appearing here tonight is to request the board to reach out to the Beacon management and refresh their recollection as to how we all agreed to deal with this matter way back when, 10 years ago, and just get back with the program. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Louise Marie?
Hi, thank you for listening to this situation. I'd like to explain specifically how the lights are so disturbing. The lights flood into our living room and sometimes into the bedroom, and they go on 24 hours a day. It feels like I am in the middle of Times Square, not in the residential area that the Ansonia used to be. It's very disturbing, disruptive, and it's not necessary. We can reach an agreement that we can live together. They will use the lights in a reasonable way, not 24 hours a day. And the lights sometimes flash. So if we are reading, watching TV, all of a sudden it's like the living room is on fire. And I think we need to reach to these people. Unfortunately, they are very skillful in ghosting us. We have sent communications, they never respond, and we cannot get any way of contacting them. So we appreciate if you could help us out. Thank you very much.
I just want to let everyone know that Steve and Luis have a list of documents that they provide to the board office, and we also have their contact information. So perhaps others who want to discuss or help can reach out later. Any questions people have right now? Yes, regarding the beacon. Okay, great. We will be discussing the other items, the parks ones, in a little bit when we get to that item, but right now, Hannah from Jerry Nadler's office.
So, hi, everybody. I'm Hannah from Congressman Nadler's office. You may have heard that Congressman Adler just announced that he's not going to seek re-election in 2026. So at the end of his term, he will have served in Congress for 34 years and New York State for 50 years. So we're obviously, it's a lot of mixed emotions, especially as a staffer that's been there for almost 7 years. And I've gotten to come and hang out with you guys for almost 7 years, which is my favorite part of the job. But we continue the work ahead. He will be in office for the next 16 months. We are your point people for casework, for federal issues, and the work continues. You know, Congressman Adler said it was time to pass the torch on to the next generation, and he really believes that. But while he's in office, he's ready to serve the community. So shockingly, in another update, I have helicopter news. Congressman Adler and colleagues introduced the Protecting Communities from Helicopter Noise Act, the bipartisan bill, one of several pieces of legislation introduced in response to rampant helicopter noise in the New Jersey, New York metropolitan area, directs the FAA to study the impact of helicopters on the safety of the airspace and helicopter noise within 20-mile radius of the Statue of Liberty and examine solutions to divert helicopters away from residential and recreational areas. The other thing that I just wanted to flag is that our office is accepting submissions for the Congressional App Challenge. These are open to middle school and high school students that either live in the district or attend school in the district. The winning app will be displayed in the U.S. Capitol building and featured on the House of Representatives website. Winning student developers will also have the opportunity to attend the hashtag House of Code Capitol Hill reception in Washington, D.C. So applications are open until October 30th, 2025. And information about that can be found on our website. Additionally, I encourage you to read Congressman Adler's press release with the full explanation of his retirement. That's also on our website. And feel free to ask me any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda, would you like to join us? Or Gail?
Or Linda Rosenthal, Assembly member, for those of you who don't know what I look like. Thank you for calling me up. And I hope everyone was able to ignore the news, all the news over the summer, but I know you can't because we get breaking news every second on our phones. But anyway, I hope your summer was good. We went from 0 to 100 in one day. Anyway, so after Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act was passed, many of my constituents and people you also represent have been calling my office in a panic about loss of health care and benefits. You heard about the ICE sighting. Others worrying about rising costs. So just give you a snapshot of some of the things I've been working on. And of course, we all have to keep struggling, fighting, and making sure our democracy stays somewhat intact. So I know I've talked a lot about the HAVP, Housing Access Voucher Program, for some years. We finally got it passed in the budget, $50 million initiative modeled off Section 8. So right now, HCR is preparing regs. And then I know those vouchers, it's a statewide program, will be very valuable because if some of you were following the EHV, the emergency housing vouchers, that will expire and the federal government is not going to renew them and therefore very hard to place individuals. They're going to get Section 8 vouchers. So people who have been on that list and new people are not going to get it, but we're juggling. So hopefully some of them will get a housing access voucher program. I passed a bill called algorithmic rent setting. This is a first in the nation legislation banning landlords from using algorithmic software to inflate rents. All the bills I've passed haven't gone to the governor yet. Biden's DOJ filed a suit against numerous landlords for colluding to artificially inflate apartment rents through AI. And without going into it, we're going to ban that from happening here in New York State. I've also introduced the legislation on tariffs. We know that 50% tariff on aluminum, steel, another 35% tariff on lumber will raise home prices by 10,000 or more. And at a time when we need much more housing, it's going to be that much more difficult to build. But I have a bill that would require those advertising housing units have to provide a tariff cost estimate when they put their stuff out there. A couple of things. I have a scree clinic September 15th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I have flu shot day September 29th from 10 to 2. Shred day October 31st from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You'll see it on those links. Okay, and a couple of other things. I've introduced legislation to replicate the U.S. Preventive Task Force in the state. So you know that Trump or Kennedy or one of them did away with that to recommend what vaccines and other health-related imperatives. So I've written to the governor and I proposed a bill that we would have our own in New York State because it's, you know, we can't go without guidance and we have plenty of smart and able healthcare practitioners. Pension fund, I introduced legislation barring the state from investing public pension funds in businesses that are majority owned by a city, state, or federal elected official. Donald Trump, for one, has Trump Media. It's in one of the mutual funds that we invest in. We should not be doing that, whether it's him or it also loses money, so that's not good. ICE bond bail agents. We know that in other states, ICE has been using bail agents to help them abscond with people. And so I introduced a bill that that cannot happen here. It doesn't happen here yet, but if they have any ideas, can't do it. And lastly, I have a whole, some of you remember that I did a lot on menstrual poverty and equity. And so most of that is done, no tax on tampons, and they're everywhere and all of that. So now I'm going to tackle menopause. So I sat down with the Today Show to unveil a package of bills. one would require insurance companies to cover the cost of menopause treatments because they don't always. My other bill would create a menopausal Bill of Rights, would update our labor laws to further strengthen anti-discrimination efforts against women experiencing menopause and perimenopause, because right now there's no official need or to accommodate. So if a woman needs air conditioning and it's February, she still needs it. And studies have shown that many women quit their jobs because they don't have accommodation. So they lose money, they lose pension money, we lose their valuable work. And there are ways to fix it. We're half the population and we need more. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So if you're here or online and you don't want to speak about the parks issue or another issue, please either line up or raise your hand and we'll go to Gail Brewer first.
Thank you very much. I know you're going to talk about the playground later. I could not believe how many River Run emails I received. So just so you know, about 50 minimum. And river runs dry, I'm calling it. So I know you're going to deal with it and I'll be glad to help in any way. Rats and pigeons. So at 96th Street, we know that there are pigeons, but now there are rats because people are feeding them. So I think we need to work together with the Parks Department that owns the plaza and the house, figure out how it can be fixed up, have activity there. I don't know how to get people to stop feeding the pigeons and then bring the rats. We all have to work together at that location in particular. Smart curbs and parking places. As you know, there was an outcry because you didn't hear about it and I didn't hear about it in terms of the parking places, 74 of them, I guess, being taken overnight by DOT. So I was able to get City Hall to reverse that. Most people are happy. Anybody who is supportive of paying for parking at all costs was not happy. But just so you know, I believe I did the right thing. And we hope that there'll be more conversation about smart curbs in general with the community board and everybody else. West Park Presbyterian Church, you heard from Debbie Hirschman. I will say that to the credit of this administration, they're going to work with us to try to come up with a compromise between the presbytery and the center and the community. And so we're working hard to make that happen. There'll be some meetings this week. And I'm hoping, because we have some new leadership at West at the presbytery, that they will be more understanding than those in the past. It ain't easy. In terms of ABC, I thank community board for all your work. The hard part is, how do you have affordable housing? I'd like to have 150 units and obviously family and seniors, but you end up with a tall building perhaps. So we're trying to work that out. It is not easy. I want to thank Community Board 7, Doug in particular, and first vice chair, the technology chair of Community Board 7, for coming to the Columbus Circle walkthrough. I think it was pretty successful because we're going to hopefully get rid of the rocks and put in some ballards. The vendors are working to move when there is a cleanup power wash from Central Park Conservancy. I'm hoping to have some new, design for the vendors. The sanitation department is cleaning on a regular basis the walk for the bicycles. The place is filthy dirty. And so I'm hoping this is going to work. And they got some new litter baskets at the museum, et cetera. So thank you very much. It's ongoing. I'm also concerned about, I would say, why in the world are we giving two women at the tip of Central Park? There is now Related runs it. Trump's people have asked to run it. I would like to have the Central Park Conservancy run it. It's like an uphill battle, but there is going to be a hearing at the FCRC, which is the board that decides these things, on October 16th. We learned that today. So we don't know, they don't vote apparently, they just have a hearing. So I've written a million letters, gotten in a lot of trouble for supporting Central Park Conservancy to be at Woolman, just like they are at the Davis Center. So just so you know, there's lots of ways of trying to get to our final goal, but we're certainly not there yet. We did a report on, I would call ghost plates. You might have seen some press on that. And it turns out that you can buy a license. You probably all knew that. I didn't know that. I thought it had to come from the Department of Motor Vehicles. No, you can buy it online. You can buy it at a storefront in Brooklyn, all illegal. In terms of the fact that it's supposed to come from the Department of Motor Vehicles. And then, of course, you can cover it and you can do a whole bunch of things. So we did a big report, which got a lot of press, and we hope to have some changes based on that report. Because people are not paying, they're going parking at the hydrants, they don't pay their bills, and they're involved in crime. Those license plates gotta go. We also wrote a letter that a lot of people signed about street trees. The way the Parks Department has come up with their new idea for street trees is you have to wait sometimes 10 years to get a new tree. They want to do it by neighborhood. I don't like that. So we got 23 people, colleagues, to sign on to say they need to come up with a different process, perhaps a parallel process, to be able to have street trees. We are introducing legislation on September 10th that would, I think, for the first time on e-bikes, hold the apps accountable. The Department of Consumer and Worker Protection has been asking for this. Without getting into all the specifics, right now, if there's an infraction, you cannot hold the apps responsible. So we're trying to make that happen, and I think this bill will do that, and the deliveries are happy with it, the administration is happy with it, and I hope it passes. So you know, that would be very much a first. In terms of ongoing issues, we are still providing for $10 fresh food for seniors from NYC Grow. They love the program. We also have our ongoing housing clinics. We also have ongoing working with the veterans. We have ongoing veterans assistance. I want to thank Westside Campaign Against Hunger because they're bringing in benefits access for food stamps, SNAP, and other benefits on a regular basis to our office. We also have people from the Department of Finance on SCREE and DREE. And we also have just ongoing good constituent service. We are going to do programs in the fall on AI. The City of Forest Day is October 4th. We're going to do a big cleanup at 96 at the Hudson River. We're going to do recycling at JCC on October 26th. We have tree care ongoing with Trees NYC and Big Reuse. And we're also going to be doing we want to thank NYU because these two groups brought in 50 volunteers from NYU to do tree care at Harborview and Amsterdam houses. We're going to be doing CPR and NARC training. We've done it in the past and we will continue. We're going to obviously do PB, participatory budgeting starting in the fall. And we're working with the deliveristas and DOT to do much more education for those who are delivering. And we will continue to work on the schools. Every year we have an event with all the principals, and thank you very much.
Yeah. We'll be going to Tunisia for 2 minutes online.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tunisia Morrison. I'm here with the Met Museum, and I'm really happy to be here. Welcome back, and I hope everyone enjoyed their summers. I just had a few updates from the Met. Some of our current exhibitions that are open, one that opened July 17th, which was The Magical City, George Morrison's New York, and I hope you all can come see it. Our rooftop will officially be closing on October 19th until 2030. So it is the last day to see the Roof Garden Commission by Jenny C. Jones ensemble on October 19th. Superfine Tailoring Black Style is still open. That was our Met Gala Costume Institute benefit exhibition, and it's open through October 26th. Lorna Simpson's Source Notes is also open through November 2nd. We have some other upcoming exhibitions I wanted just to tell you all about, which is with Witnessing Humanity, The Art of John Wilson, that opens September 20th. In Spectrum of Desire, Love, Sex, and Gender in the Middle Ages at the Cloisters, it opens October 17th. On September 16th from 12 to 1 virtually, we are having a community preview of Spectrum of Desire. And we would love if any of you would like to join our education department online for a behind the scenes look at that forthcoming exhibition. During the presentation, you'll learn about themes and content from our curators and have the opportunity to ask the curators some questions. The Met Capital team will be coming back to you all very soon and be presenting at the Landmarks Committee, a meeting this month about some minor changes to the roof and interior signage. On October 9th at the Met, we have our Hispanic Latin Heritage Month community reception at the Cloisters, and we would love for any of you to join us. You can feel free to reach out to me. And as always, reminded that the Met Museum is pay what you wish for New Yorkers, and we are very happy to be back. And thank you and welcome back, CB7.
Thank you very much. We'll be going to Judy Paulson for 2 minutes.
Yes, hi. Judy
Online?
Yes, hi. Judy Polson. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. I am a resident of the Lincoln Square neighborhood, and I thank everyone for sharing all this incredibly valuable information. My quick share, many of my neighbors are concerned about the proliferation of e-bikes in the neighborhood that behave in ways that create hazards for pedestrians, including in the parks. If you are concerned also, please check out the NYC E-Vehicle Safety Alliance. Their website is www.nyc EVSA for E-Vehicle Safety Alliance.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's the number of hands we have. I believe we have someone, Yes, please come up. And anyone else from Sean Abreu's office, you can also join right here, line up right behind the podium. Thank you. Announce yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Annabelle Santos. I'm an Upper West Sider of over 25 years. I'm an entrepreneur and I am planning to open a cafe, hopefully at 201 West 84th Street. And I'm here because I want to ask for your permission. I'm going to be offering gut healthy foods, drinks, and products that are great for the skin, all under the same roof. And I'd like to offer wine at night. So I'm here because I was told to come and introduce myself and ask for your permission to have a beer and wine license.
Yeah, I can respond to that if you like.
Josh, would you like to respond?
One second.
My name is Josh Cohen. I'm chair of the BCI, Business Consumer. And so you need to go to the state and apply for a license. You can get it online. Yeah, you get it online. So then when you apply to that, then you come in front, when it comes to us, then you come in front of the board for approval.
Okay, well, I wanted to introduce myself.
Great. No, it's great to meet you. Please, we love that. So
Okay, so I come back after.
after you do the application
Okay.
for the license from the state. Yeah, BCI, yes. Yeah.
We have a committee, BCI, which is Business and Consumer Issues.
Right.
They hear pending liquor license applications. And that committee would be the place where you need to go and after you've applied to the State Liquor Authority.
Okay.
I'm a member of that committee, and I just want you to know that generally speaking, we very much appreciate applicants for wine and beer licenses, but typically they don't come before the committee. However, you must notify the board office that you're intending to apply for a wine and beer license, but typically we don't have a public hearing here. We usually do for full liquor. But nevertheless, I encourage you to come to our committee meeting and, ask any questions you might have.
Anyway, we have your email and we'll follow up afterwards. Thank you very much. We'll go to the next person, please.
Good evening. My name is Luca. I'm here from the office of Councilmember Sean Abreu. I have some updates from us that we'd like to share with you guys. So in the recent budget passed by the City Council, we had some great wins for the community. It's $6 million for a full renovation of PS 333's playground and $350,000 for upgrades to a science lab and technology. Additionally, there's $1.4 million for major theater renovations at Symphony Space, $500,000 for bleacher and sports arena upgrades at Booker T. Washington, $500,000 for roof recreation infrastructure at West Prep, and $425,000 for gymnasium upgrades at, PS 165. So there's been a lot in the news about rats in the Upper West Side recently. West 109th continues to be a epicenter for rats here. It was the original inspiration for our waste containerization project, but because of rules around the community board boundaries, it wasn't included in the initial pilot. We're working hard on getting it to in the next round of containerization. There's also the infamous rat buffet at 96th Street Broadway, across from the subway entrance. So our office has been receiving complaints about that, a lot of complaints about that. And we're pushing the Departments of Sanitation, Health, and Parks to take more aggressive action, and it's one of the council members' top priorities at the moment. And some other news, there's a community event at the Douglas Playground Field at 102nd and Amsterdam. It's a movie under the stars at 7:15, and we're going to be playing Top Gun Maverick. That's it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Zubieta. I'll write it for you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome back. Saliba from Manhattan Borough President's Office. This year, BP Levine is proud to direct over $55 million in capital funding across the borough. This included over $15 million for our treasured cultural institutions, more than $14 million to support our public schools, over $9 million to enhance our parks and libraries, and over $10 million for vital housing and social services. The funding also maintains its commitment to expanding legal services for right to counsel, for tenant-facing eviction, and support for immigrants. A complete list of this year's capital allocations is available on our website. The New York City ferry system is carrying more people than ever before, reaching a record of 7.1 million passengers during the last fiscal year. The BP penned an op-ed in AM New York calling for the new plan to incorporate Upper Manhattan by establishing a robust Trans-Hudson ferry service connecting northern New Jersey to western Harlem. So this can be found on AM New York, and if you're interested, I can also send you the link. There's also a provide your feedback about a specific landing by filling out the 2025 New York City Ferry Network Optimization Feedback Form. If you're interested, I can send you the link. Central Harlem Legionnaire's disease outbreak. As of August 15th, more than 99 confirmed cases and 4 deaths. All cooling towers in the affected areas were tested. 11 towers tested positive for the bacteria and have been disinfected. They will be retested to confirm the treatment was successful. Medical attention is recommended if you experience flu-like symptoms, particularly if you are over 50, smoke, or have pre-existing medical conditions.
10 seconds left.
Parades. March with us and show your Manhattan pride at local parades. African American Day Parade, September 21st. Meeting at noon, meeting on 111th Street and Adam Clayton Power Jr. Boulevard. We're also having a Hispanic Heritage Month celebration, same day, 6 p.m. at Sugar Hill Children's Museum of Art and Storytelling. Lastly, for all of you members, expect an email if you haven't already received about your community board leadership training series, which will be taking place from Monday, October 20th through Thursday, October 23rd. More information is to follow, so please keep an eye out for that. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Mayenza. I work for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Thank you so much again for having us tonight. Thank you, Doug, for inviting us. I know many of you, but definitely wanted to introduce myself and share my contact. It's my last name, maenzaj@dne.nyc.gov. If you have follow-up questions about that abbreviated presentation, I'm happy to speak more to you about that. We've had a very busy summer at the Manhattan DA's office, especially in our unit. We had a lot of community events, family days, art of healing festivals, high school summer interns, gun violence prevention fellows, but also obviously continuing to try cases as well as do preventative work and advocacy work. I wanted to mention the op-ed that DA Bragg wrote in New York Daily News on the reality of rape and what our office is doing to try to combat it, specifically the work of our Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Bureau, which has brought together some of the work of our Sexual Violence Bureau as well as domestic violence to really recognize the way that particularly underrepresented or survivors who tend not to be believed because the perpetrator is not a celebrity or it's not a stranger assault. Those can be hard cases to try, but in reality, they make up a majority of the cases that actually happen in our borough. So I would encourage you to read that op-ed. I think it's really pertinent. I also wanted to mention the indictment that just happened a few weeks ago in Times Square, the triple shooting. Jaden Clark, 17 years old, was indicted for allegedly shooting 3 individuals in Times Square in August. And he's being charged with a number of felonies, the top charge being attempted murder. So I know that was a case of concern for many. And even though gun violence is down across the city in historic numbers, obviously we know gun violence is persisting and one shooting is too many. So of course, it was a very tragic incident that we will be updating folks on as it continues. But of course, I'm available for any questions and glad to be back at this meeting tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Okay, last in person and then we'll go online.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ria Bonaro. I'm here from WP Theater. We're a nonprofit off-Broadway theater on 76th and Broadway. Just for quick background, we were founded in 1978 by Julia Miles. Our mission is to develop, promote, uplift, and produce work by women artists. We have a 2-year residency that nurtures women playwrights, producers, and directors. So we're kicking off our main stage season this fall with a show called Torera. It's about a young girl pursuing her dreams to become a woman bullfighter. It's written by Monet Hurst Mendoza, who is an alum of our residency program. And our kickoff event will be on September 22nd. It will be at the theater from 3 to 6 p.m. It's free. It's also tied into Mexican Independence Day. Our playwright is also of Mexican descent, so we'll have free tacos and margaritas. You can come to the theater, meet some of the creatives and the staff, and purchase some tickets, hopefully. Our show runs from September 20 to October 19th. We also have a childcare matinee on October 4th in partnership with Goddard Riverside. If you purchase a ticket, you can bring your kids and drop them off at Goddard Riverside, and they'll have a theater workshop for the duration when you'll be watching the play. So you'll get to watch a matinee child-free, have a little afternoon theater date, and then come get your kids and go back home. So we hope you'll join us. You can sign up for our newsletter if you want to meet me after the meeting, or you can go to www.wptheater.org, theater with an ER, for more information. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, lastly, we'll go to Brad Hoylman and Siegel. Thank you. Online.
Good evening, State Senator Brad Hoylman, Siegel here. Good to see everyone. Sorry I can't be with you in person. I'm hosting a birthday sleepover for my 8-year-old with 6 other 8-year-olds. So pray for me. Pray for me. Very happy to be here, and thank you for the excellent hate crimes presentation. I'm proud to have worked with DA Bragg and expanding the number of hate crime charges by close to 24. So I wanted to thank the DA for his work in making that possible, getting that bill passed in Albany. And speaking of leadership, we all have to pause as we have tonight to acknowledge Congressman Nadler's half century of service to our community, particularly the West Side. His imprint on politics, on the excellence of service will last long after he steps down from Congress, and wanted to say that and wish he and Joyce and his family all the best. A bill that I've worked on and spoken to the board about, medical aid in dying, has passed both sessions. As I think you know, we've described it in the past. It would allow terminally ill, mentally capable adults the ability to request a prescription for medication they may choose to end their suffering. We hope the governor signs it. Esther Caroline, who is there with you tonight, can share information on how you can write to the governor if you agree and want her to sign that bill before the end of the year. I want to thank Assemblymember Rosenthal for her work on our algorithmic rent bill, as she described. We also hope the governor will sign that important bill and get AI out of the business of picking winners and losers when it comes to setting our rents. A new vaccine protection bill that I've written with Assemblymember Micah Lasher has recently been amended by us to take into consideration the fact that HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a notorious anti-vaxxer, has put forward regulations restricting vaccines even further. We're hopeful that our bill will allow the State Department of Health to serve as an alternative source of authority to our Centers for Disease Controls with regard to vaccine schedules. It would allow pharmacies to offer COVID vaccines so long as they are authorized by the State Department of Health. The State Department of Health could issue that regulation today if they so thought it was appropriate, and we've urged the state health commissioner to do so. And then, as Assemblymember Rosenthal alluded to, we worked together on a bill that would implement life-saving micro-stamping technology, imprinting a serial number on bullet casings so that they can be identified at the scenes of crime by our district attorney and law enforcement. But thus far, our State Division of Criminal Justice Services is about 2.5 years late in meeting the statutory deadline to certify the technology's viability. So Assemblymember Rosenthal and I have written to the DCJS commissioner and urged them to do their job and give law enforcement this technology in their hands so they can get illegal guns off our streets and track the sale and distribution of these handguns that are plaguing the West Side and all of our communities here in New York. I hope to see you in person next time. Again, happy end of summer, happy beginning of school year. See you soon. Thanks.
Thank you. That's the end of the public session.
Thank you, Art. It is time for our board members to respond to a roll call, which will determine their presence at the meeting this evening.
Voting is open. Text yes for you're here. Raise your hand if you're having any difficulties or if you'd like to manually count your attendance.
Yes?
Yes. Yes.
We put in yes.
Yes.
Enter on your phone.
Okay, we only got 25 of you. Do your yeses.
At least it's half.
Please make sure you vote. Remember, this is the way that we track attendance. If it's not here, it doesn't count. So let us know if you're having issues.
And again, you enter yes as your response. And if anyone of our members who is online has difficulty, can they?
They should still be able to vote even if they're online. It's not a proximity thing, so.
Yeah, you should be able to vote from wherever you are.
I'm just waiting for Alex to sort through some tech stuff and then we'll close this out.
Yes.
Okay, we'll do one manual match. Okay, so we're at 41. And Louisa managed was right there. Okay, any last other people? And Jay, okay.
We already did.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. 2, 1. We'll stop that and we can continue.
Good. Thank you very much. With that, we will open the business session with the item for youth education and libraries. Kristen, who is not here, has asked that Kevin Reevey present.
Thank you.
So at about a little after 6 o'clock this evening, there was a revised version which should have been circulated, which Alex Bell circulated to the full board. So he's pulled that up on the screen, and it has not changed at all really from the original version. So I'm not gonna read this resolution. I'm just gonna highlight some of the issues here. So I was very surprised, and maybe some of the seasoned board members were aware, but a lot of nonprofits that the city has contracted out have not been paid, or they've been paid late, or there've been delays in their registration. And the city of New York relies on a lot of these nonprofits to deliver the services that are vital to our neediest residents and most vulnerable residents. And it's unconscionable that a lot of these nonprofits that serve children, those are the food insecure, the elderly, and children have not been paid. So for example, in fiscal 2024, New York City spent 20 billion on human services contracts. And 90% of these contracts were registered late. And because they were registered late, these vendors were not getting paid. And there've been delays in a lot of these nonprofits getting funding. So thanks to Roberta and Richard Asche, I was able to talk to Goddard, as well as Harbor Scan, which is one of the largest youth nonprofits serving East Harlem, and the South Bronx. And actually, the executive director told me that the problem has gotten worse, and it's been the worst it's ever been in 30 years of his nonprofit experience with the city. And as a result, a lot of these nonprofits have had to lay off staff. They've had to cut back. They've, in many instances, have not been able to deliver the needed services to their constituents. And I mean, this is just an unconscionable and unfortunate situation. And as a result, there are several legislative items out there. So for example, Adrian Adams, Assembly Speaker, has several has several legislative items out there, but it's stalled. Additionally, Brad Landner's office has recommended several recommendations in terms of enhancing the registration process, dealing with the passport system, which was a system that was initially rolled out to enhance and expedite the registration of these nonprofits. There have been technical glitches, testing was not done, and as a result, a lot of these services have been provided, but the provider has not been paid. So the resolution addresses this, addresses that nonprofits should be fully paid and on time. We're urging the legislative items out there to be passed. Additionally, we're also asking for full transparency and accountability. So with that said, I will open it up. And Kristen, if there's then you want, or anyone from YEL who would like to add anything, please feel free.
Just want to point out that this has been a poor practice for decades, and it puts people under a lot of stress as to decide whether to give the services or hold them back because they have to pay their workers. And the losers are the kids, and for the most part, when it comes to education. And I've seen it in senior services too. Asking people who are doing a job to suffice for months and months not getting paid, if they care, and many of them care that much.
Ken has a.
This is a very important resolution. It's just an outrage what's been happening, but as a co-chair of Health and Human Services Committee, I'm chagrined that we didn't come up with it first. And I just hope, I wasn't aware of the pending legislation, but I hope in the future that something like this comes across your transom, that you'd reach out to us and maybe we could have a joint committee meeting about it.
Any
Yeah, okay. Voting is open. And
all right, we are voting on the resolution regarding legislative action on nonprofit contract payment delays.
Please let us know if you're having issues voting. Anyone that had issues voting in the beginning for their check-in. Louisa, I know online, if you had an issue, let us know.
okay. All right, voting is the passes, carries 43-010. And I believe you.
Okay, so with that, I'd like to call the Parks and Environment Committee, Natasha and Daria. We will not, as we said, be voting, but they would like to have an opportunity to explain where we stand now.
Thank you. So first off, we wanted to thank Councilmember Gail Brewer's office for their generous funding of the River Run playground reconstruction. Gail has long been a dedicated partner in Parks and Community Matters, and we're deeply grateful for her and the office's continued support. Thank you. Over the past week, we have received many comments from the community about this reconstruction. And we want to assure you that we heard you, that we've gone through the comments, and we have been following them very closely. We have forwarded these comments directly to the Parks Department. And after reading them, the Parks Department have asked us to postpone the presentation of the proposed resolution for a month, until next month. So this is, so that way they can address many of the community concerns directly at the next, at our Parks and Environment Committee meeting on September 15th. That's going to be at 6:30. Information about the agenda, timing, and location is all going to be on the CB7 website, so please check it there. If you have signed up to speak tonight, you will still have a chance to speak. We do want to hear from anyone who has a concern or a comment regarding the River Run reconstruction. We do want to clarify a few of the main concerns that have come through to us, that have been raised to us. The first is that, and some of it's just plainly based on misinformation. The first is that the playground will not be shut down permanently. It is undergoing a reconstruction that's been guided by the community outreach done by the Parks Department earlier on this year. Second, the sandbox is not going to be removed. The Parks Department is working with the original artist, Jerry Linus, to expand the sandbox in a way to make it more accessible to children with varying mobility needs. The existing sandbox will remain. And actually, its design is going to be pulled through to the rest of the playground. The swings, there are a lot of concerns about the number of swings. Those will have the same total number of seats. It's one of the most popular features. And in general, this design reflects community input that was developed in response to many of the requests that were raised during that community outreach. I know that one of the main concerns was the removal of the existing long runnel down the middle of the park, which is essentially this river canal that bisects the park. We understand that the designs may change. We don't understand how. And so we are going to ask the Parks Department to directly address this at the September 15th meeting. We won't be able to address that today, the reasons why it's there or what's going on with it. And finally, just to let you know, a lot of this was presented, discussed in detail at last week's Parks and Environment Committee on August 27th. And there's a recording of it. There's a presentation of it. It is posted on the YouTube channel, the Manhattan Community Board YouTube channel. It's also on our website. We encourage you to review the recording, look at the presentation. Perhaps some of the questions and concerns have already been addressed. Please take a look at it. And to the extent that they're not either noted or addressed or discussed in general, you can send a lot of those comments directly to the Parks Department at the following email address. And that is mhborough, capital, @parks.nyc.gov. That's, I'll spell it. mhborocapital @parks.nyc.gov. That email address is also going to be posted on the CB7 website. So again, if you are signed up to speak, we do want to hear from you. We want you to take this opportunity to let us know your concerns. We will not be able to respond to them. We're hoping to be able to respond to them at the committee meeting on September 15th. And we look forward to seeing everybody then. So thank you so much for your patience with us this evening. Thank you.
Okay, for all the members who would like to speak on this issue who are here in person, please come up to the podium. And if you're online and if you're an attendee, please raise your hand so you can be promoted to speak, and I will be calling on you in order. You can go first. You can use this microphone, it's easier. Take a little bit away. She's back a little bit.
Hi, my name is Heather and I am 10 years old. Thank you for letting me talk today. I have been going to River Run all of my life, and the playground means a lot to me, and I'm here to tell you why. I heard that the renovation plan might take out the river from the new playground design. That makes me really upset because it's one of the best parts. I still remember playing in the river as a young child. I was scared of the water at first, but then I dipped my toe in and started to have a lot of fun. I have distinct memories of playing in the water with my older sibling. I continued to enjoy playing around in the river as I grew. It provides communal space where kids can play and get a little bit wet on a hot summer day. I also had my 7th birthday party at River Run and spent a lot of time trying to build a dam in the river with my friends, which did not work. These memories I'll never forget. When you take away things like the river, it's not just the playground feature that disappears, it's the heart, soul, and namesake that gives River Run Playground its identity, and it's captured in the memories that children would have there. Everyone likes playing with different things in the playground, and I fully support the plan to upgrade the equipment and make it safer. However, if you remove the river, some of us might not feel the same connection to the playground. Playgrounds are supposed to be places where all kids can feel happy, included. This is where I've made friends and felt strong and confident. I really believe kids in the future should get to feel that too. So please, I'm asking you, don't take the river away. Please keep it in the plan so kids like me and kids younger than me can keep making those happy memories for years to come. Thank you.
We'll go for the next in person.
That's a hard act to follow. My name is G. Augustine Linus. I'm the sculptor who built the sand pit, or sandbox, as you want to call it. Thank you, and thanks for letting me speak for a moment. 40 years ago, my wife and I raised a bunch of money to build some playground equipment, which lasted a few years. 25 years ago, I designed and built the sand pit. I did not create the river, but I did make a documentary film recently for the New York Historical Society, which describes the building of the sand pit and the building of the entire playground. In that video, you will see, if you email me at glinus@aol.com, I will send you a link to the video. It's spelled Lynas, by the way, glinus@aol.com. You will see that the river is probably the nicest part of the playground. You will see children floating in it, making multiple children bridges for the water to travel under, putting little paper sailboats down it. It's flawed. It is a terrible trip hazard, but a lot of things in playgrounds are hazardous, and they should be, so that children can learn to get hurt and to heal. There is still a monkey bar in the lower park in Riverside Park at 73rd or 4th Street, I believe. They're probably illegal now. The sand pit is also quite dangerous. In fact, I was told by the architects who were responsible for the renovation that it had a flaw in the drainage system. But I remember when it was flooded, it was probably that terrible hurricane that flooded most of Manhattan, and I'm not sure that that needs to be fixed. I go down to by the way, all of my children, the oldest being 60 and the youngest being 40, have all played in that playground. And I still play in the playground because when it rains, I have wet sand to work with in the sand pit, which is why I built it in the first place, because I'm a sand sculptor. And it gives me an opportunity to be a child again. If they take the river away, they will be taking away one of the nicest aspects of this unique and unusual playground. Anybody who says it's a waste of water, they're probably right. It should be recycled if it could be. It could, maybe tributaries could take it to the tree pits. But all of the spray showers in all of the playgrounds are a waste of potable water, which is, of course, our most important resource. So we need to be careful about that. But don't dry up that river. I'm not surprised that if you were to talk to all the parents whose children have grown up in that playground, and you'll see them in the video, they had a lot of fun splashing, making a bridge, learning how to deal with each other. Save the river if you can. And I'm grateful that they decided to save the sand pit because it's precious to me. Thank you all very much.
We have a series of people listed on the spreadsheet, but I'm not sure if they're here anymore. If you're here to speak to this issue, please go to the podium. If you're online to speak to the issue, please raise your hand. I'm not gonna read through. Okay, we'll go to Max Beaton. And we'll go to Kimberly Thompson to start and Max second. You should be able to unmute, Kimberly. You're unmuted. You're muted, but not in Zoom. No, still can't hear you. We'll go to Max Beaton first, and we'll come back to you, Kimberly. Max, you can go.
My favorite part of the playground is like the river, but one thing what is not good about the river is like the drain, like it's clogged a lot. I want to keep the river, but like a new drain, we can like fit the leaves to go into the drain.
Thank you very much, Max. And we'll go back to Kimberly, if you want to try. Still unable to hear you, unfortunately. If you want to join later, yes. Anyone else? Sam Olson, will go to you now. You can rejoin. Please raise your hand in the attendees list if you would like to speak. Danielle Ritter.
Hi, I'm actually a lifelong Upper West Sider, and so I want to speak to this River Run, which I think is lovely. I also have a child who goes to River Run, and so I want to really express that this is a lovely playground, and I would actually highlight that it is a much better playground than Hippo, which I understand on the Upper West Side could be considered fighting words, but I'll take that. I'll take that to my grave. But I also want to highlight that not only is this questionable renovation, I understand that, for example, the rubberized mats in the park could be improved. I do not dispute that at all, and I actually would be well in favor of that. But I also want to highlight to the community board at large that Dinosaur Playground, which is legitimately sinking, is essentially closed right now. And we are now also contemplating closing a second large playground on the Upper West Side, which means that there would be half as many playgrounds on Riverside than there are right now. And I'm not sure, not only is there a questionable logic behind the renovation that is being proposed, but it also is not taking into account the other renovations that are happening that are then closing access to playgrounds writ large on the Upper West Side, which seems very, very poor timing and poor choice and really not considerate of community needs and requirements.
Thank you, Dan.
Can I, Alex, can I please address that? I just want to clarify some misinformation out there. The playground is not being closed. It is being renovated. It will have to, by definition, be closed for a certain period of time while it is being renovated. But if there's any miscommunication out there that the playground, River Run Playground, is being shut down permanently, that is simply wrong. I also want to highlight the fact that the 96th Street Playground, Dinosaur Playground, which is of course sinking, everybody knows that, is also being renovated. That renovation has taken a long time in coming, but that is also in the process of being renovated. And these are long projects. The Parks Department is a bureaucracy. Things do not happen overnight. But no playground, or at least neither of these playgrounds, is being shut down permanently.
And one additional thing, if River Run were to continue the timeline that it's on for its reconstruction, it would not occur until a couple of years later after it goes through a longer process of bids and contracts. And so for the most part, the renovations of both these playgrounds won't overlap, or the closure won't overlap. Thanks.
I just want to say that I
Thank you.
appreciate that we're saying that these are not going to overlap, but Dinosaur Playground has been sinking for essentially a decade, and we're only now, after I've seen years of surveyors going there, and we're only now closing part of it. God knows how long the partial closure will take. I think at the very least, it would behoove the community to make sure that Dinosaur Playground is fully completed before any partial renovations are initiated at River Run.
Thank you.
We invite you to come to our meeting on September 15th. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam Olson.
Hey, I'm Sam Olson. I'm here with Louie. Louie had a birthday party at River Run recently. I'm a architect and engineer. My wife is also an architect. I think getting rid of the river, and I have to agree with the artist who spoke earlier, would be an absolute tragedy. I think having a unique feature in each one of these playgrounds is so important to make it an interesting location, an interesting destination for children and families. To just homogenize them like all the other playgrounds on Riverside would just be an absolute waste and a tragedy. We've seen some of the playgrounds that were just finished further north, closer to the GWB, and they're just kind of boring by comparison. They're missing this special river. I think some of the other comments that Indiana made, such as the rubber mats, to me that is just like an evidence of deferred maintenance. If there was a regular maintenance program in place to replace the mats, then they wouldn't look so bad and there'd be no real problems. The play structure that's for infants, I mean, frankly, it's some of these play features are just seem to be too juvenile and err on the side of caution as opposed to exploration of the youth. Other comments a bit like the fact that there were park benches on a sloped surface are just ludicrous. I mean, benches can occur on a sloped surface. That's just like you can put benches in different places. I really hope that the community's input is heard and that a lot of these efforts are walked back and we can sort of repair and cherish what we currently have rather than wiping it out and homogenizing it to the rest of what's going on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I believe that's it. If there's anyone else who's here to speak, either approach the podium or raise your hand on Zoom. Otherwise, we'll consider this item finished and we'll move on to the next. Oh, sure. Please approach.
My name is Matt Garowitz, and I've been taking my daughters to River Run since my 13-year-old was like 1. And just the historic nature of the river, it has a whole historic and it's a natural evolution of the Hudson River, starting way upstate, going all the way to New York Harbor, and it has all the towns like Kingston, you know, the Adirondacks, all the towns it goes through, and just really cool feature of that being the historic nature of the park. There's still, and it'd be nice to get a new jungle gym and things like that, but I think we need to keep the core of the playground to make it unique. And I just wanted to make sure the whole board understands that the river is not just a river, it is the Hudson River. And I feel like a lot of you guys probably never been there and don't know what we were talking about. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you. We'll go to Kimberly Thompson.
Hi, Kimberly Thompson, and thank you so much. And I do apologize profusely. I think I might have jumped on at the wrong point. So if I am out of order, please advise me immediately. I'm a longtime resident of the Upper West Side. I live off of 82nd Street. And this is my first time attending one of these meetings, and I am so sorry that I haven't attended before. I was aware of Gail Brewer's efforts on our behalf, and hearing so much from the district attorney's office, from the New York Public Library, from Lincoln Center, all the things that make our city great and certainly our neighborhood great. My concern that got me involved, and I look forward to being more involved in the future, is the parking issue. So if that's the wrong time to address that, I will table it. If I can state my thoughts on that, please let me know.
I think we'll come back to that at a later point. Now is not, we're doing a different issue.
The River Run. I got you, and
though.
I was aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Carmen? Carmen for 2 minutes on the River Run.
Good evening. I've got like 5 generations here. I've been here since I'm 14 years old, and I've raised my kids and grandkids in the River Run. And I think that a lot of the parks are being attacked. And I think that if you don't have something in place, you know, this is very detrimental, especially to our children. Our children need the air. They need to have somewhere to go. And almost all of our parks are in trouble. So we have to find a way that we can make sure that they have somewhere to go before we start renovating everything all at one time. So I'm hoping that we can do that, that we can find the spot to do it. River Run has it's a landmark. It's really a landmark. So and again, I hope that we can definitely find somewhere, some parks first before we start shutting everything down for renovations, because we know renovations take a long time. And contracts, like we were talking before, um, contracts are not being paid at the time they should be paid. And so we need to be looking at the whole picture and not some of the picture. So, and thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you very much. We're still talking about the River Run, and we'll go to Naomi, and then Louisa will go to you afterwards. We can see you, Naomi. Okay, 1 second. We can't hear you. It says muted.
I doubt that this is about River.
Okay, Louisa, maybe we'll go to you quickly. Louisa, did you want to say something?
Okay. I started taking my daughter to River Run. She was delighted. She would go up and down the river and hop over it. But I was delighted also. It was so original. It was so beautifully conceived and designed. Both the river and the sandbox, which is quite extraordinary. I cannot imagine why anybody would wish to change these, which only adds to the delight of going to Riverside Park. You don't have to be a child to enjoy River Run. River Run is really a fantastic design. And I intend to find more about what the plans are and to speak as much as I can to try to keep the many parts of River Run that delight everybody, children and adults alike.
All right, we encourage everyone to attend the session September 15th to discuss the new River Run. And Naomi, you've unmuted, and I think we'll take you as the last person on this subject. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, sorry about that technical issues before. I'll keep it really quick because I feel like I have a lot of similar comments that some others have, but I just really want to urge that River Run is a really special playground, and the river is something that's really unique to this playground, and I think it allows for so many children of so many different ages to be playing at once, because it really it kind of the scale of the river in the playground is really unique. There's so many kids, like at any one point, there can be like 30, 40 kids kind of playing, and it doesn't feel crowded. So I just really encourage with the changes, which I'm sure there will be many. I have been on the other side of these meetings as well. I just really encourage the unique nature of this playground, which is really the river and the sandbox as well, to remain. Thanks so much for this meeting, for listening to the comments.
Yeah.
Thank you. Again, my name is Joshua Cohen. I'm co-chair of BCI Business and Consumer Issues Committee. We had 6 applicants for liquor licenses, and we want to bundle them all together as they were all approved in committee. But I did want to ask if there was anybody here or online that had any comments or questions about any of the applicants. Yes.
I see no one online.
Anybody here? Have any questions or comments? Okay. So with that being said, voting is open.
All right, we are voting
To approve.
We're voting on yes for approval, no for disapproval.
Correct.
Of all of the 6 items that are on the agenda for BCI. Yeah.
Josh, I am voting yes, and you can, I'm ineligible on one item, which is 50 West 77th Street. And that is because I represent ownership there. So I'm voting yes on everything except 50 West 77th Street, which is going to be ineligible.
Noted. Thank you, Doug.
We will register your vote as ineligible for that item.
Great. Get your votes in.
$50 West 77.
5 seconds left. 4, 3. All right, and that passes 38-0-0-1.
Yeah.
It complies. We'll adjust.
Yeah.
With the modification as announced. Moving along, Budget and Strategy Committee, Miriam and Carey.
Hello, everyone. So every year, the community board needs to prepare the district needs statement as one of the banner things that we do. And
can you speak more directly into the mic? Thank you.
Of course. So every year we need to put together the district needs statement, and in connection with doing that, the community board takes a vote only on the top 3 pressing issues facing the community district. And for the past few years, those top 3 issues have remained stable. Unsurprisingly, they've been affordable housing, public education, and social services, including food insecurity. For this year, those will remain our top 3 pressing issues that we have identified. There's only one minor change that we've made in the resolution. We are specifically identifying social services instead of just food insecurity, and there are a few reasons for that. First, it includes food insecurity. Second, when city planning hears or reads what we do with our top 3 pressing issues, when we say food insecurity, to them it maps on to social services. So we're simply adopting their slightly broader view of what it is that we've been identifying. And finally, we have an understanding of what's going to be coming down the pike from the federal level in terms of cuts to social services more broadly, and that is going to be a major challenge that is faced in the community district for the next year. And we want to make sure that the language that we're using is sufficient to meet that threat. And so that is the reason behind that change. Happy to answer any questions, even happier to hear the question calling called.
I just want to make a comment. You know, if you're saying these are priorities for the community board year after year, I would just encourage folks to come to the YEL meetings, the HHS meetings. They seem to be a little bit lower in attendance, a little bit lower in terms of committees that have folks that participate on them. So there's a bit of a disconnect between what we're saying that we value and we're actually putting our time into valuing. So I think if we want to, you know, we should practice what we preach. All are welcome. Please come to those meetings. There's a lot of good that we try to do with them. So please join us.
Just as we should pay our school teachers according to their value. I would like to ask you a question, which I'm sure I should know the answer to because I should have known last year, but I seem to have forgotten. Are these ranked in order of priority, or are we simply listing our 3 largest needs without stating a priority as to one over the other?
It is the top 3 pressing issues. We have traditionally presented them in this order. But it is just the top 3 issues. I don't believe that it is necessarily of substance how they are.
So,
Roberta, you had a question? Are you through?
I have a comment.
Okay.
I have a comment. Our top 3 issues for the last at least 10 years has not been social services, it's been food insecurity. Because it would be like if there was an asthma outbreak in the community and 30% of the people had potential to get asthma, we wouldn't say we need medical services. We'd say we need special services for asthma. So I would like the language to be a little more solid about food insecurity. And I don't think because city planning puts it in a all with all the other social services, food insecurity is going to get even worse. The SNAP benefits have been cut drastically by the quote big beautiful bill, and it's starting in it'll be fiscal year 2026. We're talking about fiscal year 2027. By fiscal year 27, we're going to have even more people hungry. A fact that we know is that 50% of seniors do not have Social Security because they did not work. So our senior population is much largely food insecure than any other population.
I'm sorry, Roberta, are you asking for an amendment to the?
I'm asking for a change.
May I speak?
Either as a friendly resolution or as a resolution.
Yeah, I think Roberta brings up a very important point. If you speak to people at Westside Campaign Against Hunger and the data we have, it keeps increasing and it doesn't increase by small numbers. We have knowing agencies within the community. And the number one concern is providing food for people, whether it be seniors, whether it be young people, maybe the more poor and vulnerable people. And there seems to be never enough. So if we follow the category, I think we lose something in that. And I think we should stick with food insecurity as one of the three top, and it's usually been number one.
Can I just ask, so food insecurity is just a subsection of the social? It's not.
It's the way the just to clarify, city planning puts everything into a bucket. So if you, when you do your district needs, if you talk about food insecurity, it goes into social services. But food insecurity is funding does not necessarily come from social service agencies. It comes from a whole bunch of different funding sources. For example, children's meals come from at school, so they come from the DOE. After school programs may come from the providers. Senior centers provide meals. City Meals on Wheels provides meals. We're in a church that has WISCA in it, and WISCA provides meals. And there are a whole bunch of, there are about 10 or 12 food pantries on the Upper West Side. Some of the senior centers get meals. Gail Brewer provides through the $10 every other week for seniors. So it goes into a bucket, but it's not really, it would be like, mental health goes under HHS, health services.
Okay, do the co-chairs accept that as a friendly amendment or not? That's the question.
So we have it right now as social services, including food insecurity.
Yeah.
So we think that it is reflected in the resolution. There are a couple of quick responses just to point out. The data regarding food insecurity and how city funding is determined is by reference to something called the supply gap, which is a metric that the mayor's office puts together. The data for this neighborhood over the past year or two, it's moved around, but it actually has improved in the past year or so. So it's a metric that's tracked with pretty good granularity, and it breaks out the district in 3 distinct areas. One of which has a food insecurity rate of about 18%, is ranked 26th in the city. But the middle of the district isn't ranked as severely. It is not as big an issue there. And when we look at what other neighboring community districts have done, what they've been focusing on, their third issue is usually quality of life, homelessness prevention, things like that. And so in that sense, we're out of step with them. And so we wanted to make sure that we were encompassing those issues as well. It includes things like the childcare issues, the adult services issues that we identified in the first resolution tonight. So I think the language that we have is a happy medium that's there. If we want to take a vote and the board would prefer that it be in the other direction, I think that's a powerful signal, and we'd be happy to accept whatever the board would like.
Is there a board member who wants to propose an amendment for vote?
Can we hear that resolution? Can we hear the resolution again?
We're saying the top three pressing issues are.
Is there a written resolution?
Yes, it's online.
Can you read it, please?
It's therefore be resolved, the top three pressing issues are affordable housing, public education, and social services, including food insecurity.
If you add the word particularly food insecurity, would that be a friendly amendment?
Sure. Yes.
What's that again?
That's asking too much. We're splitting hairs here. Yeah, you.
Okay, I just wanted to say a quick word about food insecurity here in the middle of the district. For the first time ever since the West Side Campaign Against Hunger was founded 46 years ago, we had to tragically make a change. The food budget, the demand for food got so out of hand for families who are coming here who had no other resource for healthy food, that for the first time ever, we've had to stop taking new families. And so unless you're already in the system, there's no access to food here at this site, which is the major site still for the West Side Campaign Against Hunger. And the only place where previously somebody could just come and say, here, this is my situation. I desperately need food to feed my family. So I understand the reasoning, but I would urge us to make food insecurity one of those priorities, is just let it stand out in the way that it really needs to at this time. I agree with Roberta.
We've accepted Richard's change as a friendly amendment, but there does appear to be an interest in taking a vote on a more extensive amendment that essentially makes the food insecurity as certainly one of the three, if not moving it elsewhere higher. So is there anyone who wishes to call the question on that amendment? Ken?
I just wanted to speak to it.
Okay.
As co-chair HHS, as we just heard, things are going to get a lot worse with the quote, big, beautiful bill in terms of food when SNAP benefits are cut. It just seems to me that just saying social services is just way too general. There's just too much in that bucket. And we need to, the more specific we can get, the more powerful the statement. And the real need, as Kay said, in this community and in the city is more money for food.
Okay, we're now discussing an amendment that has been, where the question has been called, but nobody has seconded it. Thank you. And we should then take a vote on the amendment.
Did anyone
What is
write
the
in the
amendment?
amended text?
Sorry. You need a microphone. Use the one right here.
I'm sorry, as a new board member, I just am not clear on what the ramifications of the statement. Does it result in new funding coming into the neighborhood? Does it result in, our local elected officials taking cognizance of it? What is the practical impact?
The practical impact is that it becomes one of the three things that the public understands this board believes to be important for this community. It may impact elected officials. It may impact other community sources. It does not automatically yield more money. Clearly, we have also a process for budget requests where we can put forward those and advocate for them. There's no immediate consequence to how this is worded. It's a statement of essentially our goals for the year. Yes, Jami?
So Alex is making the change that Richard has proposed as the friendly amendment?
No. No, the friendly amendment was not sufficient to convince some of our members.
So this would be striking, so right now it says, and social services, including particularly food insecurity, this would strike, and social services, including particularly, and just say, and food insecurity.
May I make a suggestion? If you look, as I
I
read,
think we have on the floor an amendment that has been discussed, seconded, and the question has been called and we vote on it. If it doesn't succeed,
Okay.
then we will look at other alternatives.
okay, then may I speak to what's on the floor?
Yes.
It seems to me that we're having a lot of conversation, much ado about nothing. If we
There are
read,
people here who believe.
I think we all may agree is what I'm saying. If we simply read the paragraph that is in the text of the resolution, most of it is about food insecurity. There is one sentence about social services. If we were to strike that one sentence, the whole thing would be about food insecurity. That's all I want to say.
It's the therefore clause that is sort of our statement of purpose here. And that is where people are uncomfortable with the current wording. I'd like to have us begin voting on whether or not to change the third item to simply food insecurity, not social services, especially including, right?
Okay, the question has been called and the text is up on the screen.
Go ahead, Richard.
You know, this amendment would mean that our three biggest needs in this community do not include daycare, child welfare, senior citizens, and a whole bunch of other social services that are, you know, you can argue that food insecurity is the most important, but the importance of social services in this community is enormous. And by eliminating all social services other than food insecurity, I think we're making the wrong statement.
Our district needs statement, which is a multi-page document that is lengthy and that our committees have been working on for months now, contains all of the issues that you're talking about. It does not address what we have been asked to specify, which is what are our top three. But we certainly will be on the record in the district needs statement for the broader perspectives on an inclusive statement about what the needs are in our community. That is the purpose of what is typically a 20+ page document. I think we are voting.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jennifer Malsby. I'm a new board member. I'm asking if we are confirming this statement, or if we vote yes, we are confirming this statement. If we vote no, we are asking for an amendment.
If we vote yes, it's to accept it as just food insecurity.
Yes.
If we vote no, it's social services, including particularly.
So yes is to confirm what is on the page.
Yes.
No is to.
Or to keep the original.
Yes. So yeah, to vote yes is that this, which is on the screen now, is what is the resolution, and then we will vote subsequently on the other text.
Correct.
Yes, exactly.
If this does not pass, we go back to what the original language is, and we vote that.
Great. Voting is open. The subject is just budget and security. Don't worry. Yes, the text says, therefore be it resolved that Community Board 7 Manhattan's top 3 pressing issues for fiscal year 2027 are affordable housing, public education, and food insecurity.
Vote yes if you agree with that, no if you do not. Simple.
Okay, voting is open. It's currently 15, 12, 1, 0. This is close, so let's make sure we get every vote. And let's see how I can see people. Yeah, if you're having voting issues, please say something.
Working on 42.
So currently 19, 16, 4. Are we missing anyone who wants to manually vote? Okay, we're gonna have 5 more seconds. So it does not pass. The current vote is 19, 19, 4, 0. So we're gonna stop voting now. And
we are going to call the question on the originally submitted with the friendly amendment proposed by Richard.
Yes.
Question is called.
Is there any way to put it up? Yes, so people can see what they're voting on. What was the first?
Including particularly food insecurity.
Including particularly, right,
We are emphatic.
food insecurity.
Declaration.
And particularly. I'm terrible.
Particularly including.
Okay, the question has been called.
No, not on this one. Budget strategy 2.
Yeah.
You got it.
Any issues? This one looks like it will pass.
No, I know.
Okay.
Well,
5. Okay, 5, 4. Okay. 3, 2. Okay, that passes 37, 39, 0, 2, 0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under new business, did we have a speaker who wanted to speak on a different matter?
I don't think she is a board member that.
Oh, let me first, because this.
Kimberly, if you'd like to speak about your issue now? You're here still? Kimberly Thompson? 2 minutes.
So much for recognizing me. Yes. So
We can hear you. Yep, great.
Thank
Go
you.
for it.
So the issue that I had stated before that I have concerns with at the moment is the parking on the Upper West Side that momentarily was changed over to pay per parking by the city for in the residential areas. I live on 82nd Street and have for a couple of decades. I was in a different state of the health when I moved in there. And I've gotten older and have some health issues, and my parents have gotten older. And so I do use my car to visit them outside of the city and take care of them. And without a car, I wouldn't be able to do that. And I could not afford to keep my car in a garage. I certainly do not use it for joyriding around the city. So I was very alarmed when I heard that these pay stations were going up in our residential areas. Slowly, they've been encroached on. I know on my block, they removed, and on Central Park West, they removed a lot of free parking originally. And then they put the city bikes in and then more police parking and that's all been okay. But the idea that that might be completely taken away now for residents is very alarming. So I just wanted to talk to the board about that and find out what, if any, efforts are going to be made to address that. And I'd actually called Gail Brewer's office, and I was advised that this was actually the best venue to start getting informed of what actions were being taken. Thank you.
Thank you. As you know, DOT has rescinded that plan and will be coming back to ourself and to the neighborhood with a perhaps different plan going forward. We're waiting for that, but we don't expect that immediately. We'll see when they come back.
Thank you.
And Kimberly, we would invite you to come to our department. Our Department of Transportation representative comes to the committee meeting for the Transportation Committee on September 9th. And she may or may not address this, but you certainly may at that meeting. So feel free to come. It's on the website, 6:30 on September 9th.
I appreciate that. And just one
Specific
final
to-
comment. I wanted to thank everybody. I've been so impressed with what I've heard today and the civil action that's involved. And it's really, it's been wonderful. So thank you for your time and your efforts. And I will be more involved. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
There's somebody in the middle.
Yeah, John Shockett, I'm a new board member. I realized I voted improperly in the first resolution. I abstained. I meant to do ineligible for cause. I'm employed by a city contracting nonprofit, so I wanted to request that that be changed.
This is the very first one.
On the very first one about the nonprofits. Yeah. I did. It's a conflict, not an abstention.
Thank you. Any other speakers who have new business? No? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye.